Okay, this one's about general time manipulation, so reversing clips and speeds ups and slow downs. And I'm starting off with this clip here, which we've all seen before. The reason is it's quite clear where we're at the beginning and the end of this clip, so I'm just going to start off by playing it in its entirety so we know how it begins, how it ends. Now, what I'm going to do in this lesson is I'm just going to have that first bit of the trees going down to there and then reversing again, speeding up every time. And to be honest, this is speed up, slow downs and time reversals are one of the things that Blender Editor is not super good at. So one of the things I am going to do is to show you some tricks around it. Well, the first thing we can see straight off, if we scroll down here, is there's a button here called backwards. And now we have the strip backwards. Here we go. Fine. Okay. Cool. So I want this last bit of it here. I want it from about there to the end, so I'm going to cut it there and I'm going to grab that and move it off to the side. I'm going to delete that bit and I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to select this one here and I'm going to unclick backwards. Oh, we're now getting the end of the strip, followed by the beginning going backwards. I mean, you can select backwards and then edit a strip, and that's fine. Unfortunately, like clicking backwards halfway, editing and then clicking backwards will result, or even editing and then unclicking backwards will result in some rather weird bits of the footage being played. So not exactly great. I'm now just going to undo all the way back to the beginning, well, to the point where I added this movie strip to the timeline. Oh. And I'm going to now look at the speed up and slow down options and use an effect strip called speed control. Right, so there's speed control, and what I could do now, okay, remember that's what the end of the strip looked like. I could now grab the right hand end of that, so right click the right triangle and squash it up, and now it's playing the entire strip squashed into a shorter amount of time. Cool. Yeah, so that, but now if we now cut that, we've now got the entire strip being played in an even shorter amount of time. There are other options on the speed control strip. If I just do a couple of undos first of all, there's also options if we look up here, effect strip, so that will be the stuff to do with this effect strip here. We've got stretch, let's drag that out so we can read the entire thing. Stretch to input strip length, we could untick that. We could select a speed factor, which is currently 0. So if we select a speed factor of 1, it'll go at the original speed, 2 will go at double speed, 0.5 will go at 0.5 speed, but we've still got the problem that if we then cut this here, suddenly the point at which this strip starts is wrong. Right, so again, I'm just going to do a whole load of undos. Yeah, to that one where I set the end frame to 1000. There are other options on this strip here. So effect strip speed control. If we then go to this video editing one where we have this curves for keyframing, there are more options on the speed strip you can control. And so we're now here with the curves panel here, or graph editor, and now I'm going to right click it again and once more add the speed control effect, and now we're going to some more options here. What we're going to do here is we can now keyframe what frame the video is on at any particular point. So we can select that at the beginning it's at frame 1, here it's going to be at frame 100, here it's going to be at frame 1 again, here 100, and so on. So if I go, well, first of all we've got to select this, and we unclick stretch input to strip length, and we unclick use as speed, and now it's completely still. So at the beginning we want frame number 1 and I to insert a keyframe. Yeah, remember I to insert and Alt I to delete keyframes. And we need to press I while the mouse is over this box here, because that's what will make it know that that's what we're adding that's the value that we're adding a keyframe to. So I'm now going to go 5 seconds in, and I'm going to go to frame 100 and add another keyframe. Right, I have been running into this glitch quite a bit recently, and what I've figured to do it is if I just sort of tick and then untick that box again, we're now able to see it now goes between frame 1, it accelerates, you can kind of see on the curve that it accelerates in the middle and then decelerates at the end, which that's cool. So it now goes frame 0 to frame 100, and then here again, yeah, let's put it there. We'll go to frame 1 again, I to insert keyframe. I'm going to scroll that up a bit and scroll that out a bit. So again, it's need to seem to have to click these in and out between every new keyframe, which is less than ideal. 100 I 1 I 100 I. We could even do this here. We could hold down the control key and click here, and it will make new points, and I can create a nice sort of wave like that. And is that actually updating that? Oh, it's decided to update straight away this time. Okay, so we're able to create that kind of wavy thing. And if you want to do some crazy timeline manipulation, this effect here would be the way to do it. It's pretty cool. It's got some pretty cool functionality to it, really. If you wanted that to not accelerate in and out, well, there are these handles here. Again, G to grab move stuff around throughout Blender, so I could adjust the angle of these curves. You know, I hope you're understanding that. This is the timeline here, and this is the timeline of the original strip. So it goes up to frame 100 and then back again, and so on. There's also some other options. We could select handle type. I think interpolation mode we could set to linear. I think I showed you that in the last one, so we just have a linear one. If I use A to select all, we can go interpolation mode linear, and it's all linear. So that's kind of cool. That's one way of doing it. It's super fine control, but maybe not the most practical. Another way of doing it, and I'm just going to delete that, and I'm going to go back to default view for this one. You can tell it's going to be simpler because we don't have to use that rather weird curve editor. Okay, right, that's the point. I'm going to cut it there. So what I want is that strip playing backwards and forwards and speeding up each time. And we had problems with that before, didn't we? We had a problem that I added the reverse and all kinds of weird things happened. But that's Shift D to duplicate, and I want another copy of it here. What we can do, however, which will solve that, is if we use Control G to group it into a meta strip, we now reverse the meta strip, we now get it's now solved that problem. So if we could, and also we could add a speed control, and I can just squash this up and it will squash the time involved. And I think, and yeah, so there we go. I can duplicate that, duplicate both of those strips, that is, and squash this one up a bit. And this one's reversed, isn't it? We want to reverse the backwardsness. So by using meta strips on the area that we want to control the speed of, we've got a much simpler way and a much more understandable in a single timeline way, rather than having to look at that graph. We've got a much simpler way of controlling the speeds and doing reversals. So if you wanted to do a fancy thing where most of a shot happened at regular speed, but there are occasional bits that were sped up. I mean, this is actually used possibly more often than you think in like action scenes. They quite often speed up small parts of the action in a way that's not even noticed, because like a punch that is not meant to hurt the other actor will go rather slower than a genuine punch. So what they'll do is they'll go through the timeline with a fine-tooth comb, speeding up all the punches. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, this is possibly the most practical way of doing that. So if I wanted to do that, exact thing that I just suggested, again I'm going to Control undo back to, how far can we go? Let's try there. So yeah, I go back to the original strip, and let's say I want that bit. What bit do I want sped up? I want between there, so I'm going to press K to cut. I want between there and that doorway appearing there, I want that, so K to cut again, I want that strip there to be sped up a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all Control G to group it, and then Alt A, add effect, speed control. Going to grab that right hand arrow there and squash that up. Going to grab that, right click to select, and then G to grab and move it up there. You've got this function where it goes red and it won't allow me to make it overlap this other strip, so it'll just pop it to the end there. And now what happens is it goes at normal speed, and then through this bit it goes super fast, and then it goes back to normal speed at the end. Okay, I think that shows both a couple of things. Both some ways of using the speed controls within Blender, and also the problems with them and how to overcome them. Okay, I hope that was useful. See you soon.